Hey guys, thanks for listening to The Cynical Nerd. Please keep in mind that we do not avoid spoilers for any of our topics, whether they are current or past media. Listen at your own risk. Oh, damn it. I feel like you're taking a jab at me there.
No.
I am recording.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I am recording. My name is Derek.
Listening back to last week's. Oh, shit. By the way, I just realized I totally just spaced and didn't upload the video to YouTube for last week.
Wow.
Maybe my ape brain, like somewhere in the back, was like, just forget about it because there was 3 separate clips. You don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to upload it. I'm probably at this point, though, because I'm going to have to do this week's video, I'm probably just going to put the audio version up on YouTube, and it'll just be the audio with the... So sorry if you like looking at our faces every week.
Yeah, that would be weird if you did. I would be surprised by that. I would be flattered, too, but I would be surprised if you're in it for just how we look. I'd
have to assume there's also something else going on.
Right.
Like... You know what I mean? Like you're rubbing one out weekly to looking at us. Because I really can't think of another reason that you would be.
It's got to be a fetish that you're ashamed of in order for that to be, like, believable to me.
Right.
It's not a healthy... It's not just a healthy form of expression. It can't be.
I also have to say that I have to give myself a little bit of self-fellatio.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I heard someone mention... Lonely Island, and just for some reason I was with Samantha downstairs earlier, and it reminded me of the Lazy Sunday episode a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I got Derek really good, like with a joke about Lazy Sunday, and she was like, oh really? And I played it for her, and it's because we played it so straight. Mm-hmm. And even when you realized it, you're not like mad at me, you're just like, oh, I see the bit that you're doing right now.
I don't remember it. I completely. I don't. I'll have to go back. Don't explain the bit.
No, that's okay. It literally was the beginning of the Lazy Sunday rhyme.
Okay. And
I was like, "Is it a lazy?" You're like, "Yeah, it's a lazy Sunday." And I was like, "Did you wake up in a late afternoon?" And then we got to the end of it, and I think I said, "Yo, Sanford, what's cracking?" And I was very proud of how it sounded on the microphone. And I got an audible cackle from my wife, which is nice. Like basically her version of 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty stoked about that.
All the way up. Yeah.
2 thumbs all the way up.
I had a steak dinner, and so there's going to be like a shit that's swarming around inside of my stomach. I'm going to do just the best that I can to keep it contained for however long this episode is. I don't want you to have to do 2 separate files again, or multiple files again, so no promises.
Who has a steak dinner on a Monday, you decadent bitch?
We actually decided like that's how we want to, that's like going to be our Monday thing. Like Mondays are the worst, right? Garfield, we've all seen it. So like why not treat yourself on Monday so it's not totally lasagna? Bullshit. Yeah. Why not lasag? I love lasagna, dude. It's so like, full of everything that's terrible for you, though.
Yeah, horrible.
Carbs,
so
check.
Bad.
Fat, check. It's just like cholesterol, and it's a nightmare. God, it's
There's
delicious,
also
though.
No faster way to give me heartburn.
Yes, agreed.
It's second to only pizza with how quickly the burn happens.
Yeah, it's pretty exceptional. I agree with that.
Like I'll take like a bite and be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna need the Tums right yesterday. What's we? Oh man, I got things happen to me.
You have some stuff happen to you?
My UCS Millennium Falcon came in, which I know you're aware of.
I am.
And
that's correct. I know you're not talking
it.
to me necessarily. There are people.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's okay.
It's like we're talking like really loudly in like a restaurant. We just have to.
Right.
That's really because it's about the same amount of people that listen probably too. So about 4 or 5.
Yeah, local diner at 1 a.m. type thing.
Yeah, we're at a Denny's. Picture that. It makes sense because you're gonna shit your pants later too.
Yeah.
It's totally appropriate. We're at the Denny's of podcasts. How's that? That works out. I like that. I'm okay with that.
I fucking love Denny's, so I'm totally okay with that.
That means at one point in our history, we had a breakfast item called the Who Burrito, which is really all you need. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
There was a very strange period in Denny's storied history,
right,
where they had a themed menu around like the popular like emo bands at the time. There was something from Taking Back Sunday on the menu.
Okay, that's very bizarre.
Do you recall the band Hoobastank?
I do. Who
They had the Who Burrito.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And let me tell you, delicious. It was delicious.
Get the same thing every single time I go there, and that's a grand slam. And it puts me out of commission for 2 days straight, and it's worth it.
I would say I do the same thing, but I can honestly not recall the last time I have dined at a Denny's establishment.
Me neither. It's been a long time. I just know what it's going to do to me, and I know that I shouldn't. And like now I'm finally, it took me 30 some years to like get to the point where I can talk myself out of doing things that are really bad for me. So it's
at least sometimes.
It's been a couple of years for me as well.
I still drink more often than I should, so I'm not 100% there. Speaking of, thanks to Truly for the sponsor last night. Oh my God. Well, dude, I'm sorry. I'm doing inside jokes on the Inside Joke King of Podcasts. I started streaming again last night. For anybody interested, I'll plug it at the end again. But I started streaming the build of the Millennium Falcon, and I realized that like it takes little to no effort on my part, unless I didn't want to talk to anybody. Because all I have to do is it's a perfect setup. You can't see it. You can actually see some little plastic empty bags right here along the bottom corner. But I have a fold-out table set up right over here. I recently replaced the webcam as an upgrade, so I had a spare webcam. I had the extension cable from back during my expensive hobby called the original Oculus Rift, because you needed USB extension cables to put the sensors up. I had everything I needed besides a desktop mic stand that I pulled the Shure off and put it over, and I have a TV over there that I don't use. It's like a 32-inch bullshit Samsung TV.
So
and
you were using the SM7B on the
yeah.
I for whatever reason I thought you were saying you got another mic, like a shitty mic to use over there.
No, I just got a little stand for it.
I was like, damn, your voice sounds fucking great when I was dropped in the stream last night. So
thank
that explains why you were using
this is actually
the good old SM.
This is actually a Gator Frameworks like desktop stand, the same as this guy, but this even though this was very expensive, this was only like $35. And it's really hefty. Like it holds up the Shure really well. Thanks for the sponsor, Gator Frameworks.
Yeah, and, we appreciate that. We are really both using their gear right now, so they really ought to think about it.
Yeah,
maybe Shure.
Throw us a bone here. Yeah, sure. You sure better sponsor us. I'm really sorry. But I have this old TV sitting at the front of the table, and I just cast Twitch chat to it, and I'm just sitting like my face isn't on stream. I probably picked my nose last night. No one could see it. It was fantastic. And I'm just sitting there building a Lego and talking to people. It was great. I had a great time. Yeah. Anyway, let's get on track. How are you doing today? How's your Monday night going, Mr. Steak Dinner?
I'm doing good. Had a nice little break this weekend for we had our anniversary celebration about a week and a half late. My mom took Odin for the night, which like leading up to we thought was going to be just the coolest thing ever to not have the kid, and then literally the moment that we gave him away, we were just panicking the entire time. But we did go see The Northman, which was excellent, incredible, great movie.
I want to hear.
We had a great night, and then we literally could not wait for my mom to drop our son off the following day, and he's back, and he's adorable, and we're all back together, and everything is good. It's a good weekend. How are you?
I like that. I'm good. Like the Falcon came in Friday. I had to quickly race home and hide it from my son.
Yeah, of course.
So if those that don't know, I'm on like DEFCON 4 right now because my boy is just he's in love with Legos. So as you can understand the problem with which I am faced. Ran home, threw it upstairs, threw my old green screen cloth over it just to hide it. And I don't know what it was. I feel like he had like a sixth sense. All weekend, he wanted to come upstairs and hang out. And he never does that because he knows that this is like daddy's office, daddy's
the dad's
area.
Zone.
Yeah, this is the dad zone. So I cleaned up. I've mentioned this like once before. I had a shame corner over here with a bunch of trash in it. So I spent like an hour and a half cleaning that up.
The shame corner was something totally different when you first mentioned that.
Oh.
I thought it was a corner that you J-O into.
No. That'd be so weird. What am I like?
I hope it's trash and you J.O. onto the trash.
Well, I clean up with the trash. I mean, it's an old almond joy wrapper. I got to do something with it. It's recycling. I'm doing my part over here. There's some really weird underlying psychological issue. If like every time I J.O., I'm going into a corner and like I'm sad about it. This is where I belong.
That's what that dude was doing in that one part of the Blair Witch. He was just J.O.ing. Leave him alone.
That's true. Yeah. Don't go over there. You won't like him if you disturb him.
He's being environmentally conscious.
Okay. But yeah, that arrived. I cleaned up here. We did some cleanup downstairs. We had a birthday party to go to. I don't know. I like how we balance being normal people with just the shit vitriol that comes out of our mouth all the time.
Just jerking off. Yeah. What do you do?
Just talking about our J.O. habits. Let's dive on in. We are, I think last time I mistakenly called it episode 64. Now it is episode 64.
Episode Nintendo 64. Yes.
That's an easy one. Nintendo 64. I think I already have the thumbnail too. I think it's the ancestral spirit with the fedora on it.
Right.
And no one will know. Yeah. I'm sorry. For those of you listening at home, I have a case of the giggles tonight, which is probably, I don't know, maybe good. Unless my laugh annoys you, in which case I'm very sorry. That it surprised my brain. I totally forgot it was called the Great Spirit of Actually. So we have like a kind of a decent amount of stuff here. Some of this I care about strongly, and some of it I care about. What's the word?
Weakly.
Unstrongly. Weakly. I like unstrongly. It sounds stupid of me. But yeah, we'll dig in. There's a lot of stuff happening. If you guys don't know, this isn't in our week in review. Netflix is getting poo-pooed on quite a lot for trying to crack down on passwords. We're not really going to dig into that too much besides to say, like, I don't know, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I don't really there's not a whole lot to say about that.
No.
It is what it is. But our first two articles have to deal with Netflix. I just, if someone ever does decide to hashtag fuck TCNS, I don't want you to do it about something and be like, you didn't talk about. Well, we knew. Okay.
It's just because everything to say about it has been said. You know what I mean? Like that conversation has been happening for the past week. What could we possibly add to it at this point?
Right. Yeah. And like everyone and their fucking mom has had an opinion about it.
Yeah,
so
fuck Netflix. And that's kind of the extent of it.
Yeah. And in the spirit of things, I'm going to start off with the second of these two Netflix articles, which is that Netflix lost $54 billion overnight. That was billion with a B.
With a beaneroony.
And not million. It's a lot of money. So what happened was, for the first time, they posted their biggest loss, and they didn't hit their subscriber numbers. They lost 200,000 subscribers, and they expect, this is the crazy number, they expect to lose 2 million more next quarter. And that's, I think, a little bit because of competition in the marketplace. There's actually other streaming services that are actually doing pretty good as far as
Go
competition.
ahead, put the fedora on.
Yeah, I mean, I think, do I have one? I might have one. Not upstairs, but I think I own one. I'm sorry.
Oh, it makes a great bit. Every time you correct me, you just put the hat on.
Let's put the hat on. Well, you see, I can also just, prop the glasses up every time. I'll put a little piece of white tape right here. Anyway, naturally, shareholders didn't care much for that news, and stocks were sold off, and the stock price plummeted 35 and some change percent in a single day, and that's the $54 billion. That's a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And coupled with some subscriber hits in January, they lost like 65% of their value in the last 6 months, which is another crazy statement to fucking make. So anyway, good is the moral of the story.
Yeah.
And I say good because of the thing we just talked about. They're trying to crack down. In Netflix's mind, it's not a content issue. It's not even the fact that they've raised their prices so much that they're going to be more expensive than HBO Max, which in my mind is supposed to be a much smaller niche streaming service. They just think that it's people sharing passwords like Netflix. People have literally been sharing your passwords since the advent of the internet.
Yeah. And they share the passwords of all the other streaming services too, but I mean, they're on the rise. Well, some of them, but
yeah.
Every time like a company reports losses and they blame the consumers, I immediately am just like, fuck that company. That's just my immediate. Yeah. I hope it gets worse. Hope it gets worse.
Hope it gets worse. Yeah. Before it gets better. How's the good, bad?
It's been
breaking
excellent.
up?
Yeah. Fine.
Okay.
Perfect.
It could have just been Discord being like,
being a big old butt.
whatever. Being a little overzealous there. Never let algorithms determine your audio quality. That's your lesson.
A little overzealous.
Yeah, a little. You caught that, huh?
Yeah, pretty good.
Along with the losing of value, this is a piece of good news, but strange to me. So historically speaking, whenever a Jackass film comes out, it is swiftly followed by a 0.5, which is just usually a sizable chunk of skits that didn't make the first movie, because it's, they always want to keep them kind of, there's only so long you can laugh at someone's dick looking like a Godzilla, so they tend to keep those movies at like 90 minutes, and then they'll release a second chunk, in some cases like 2.5 and 3.5. I think those second chunks were like a full hour and some change. They're pretty decent amounts of stuff. The same thing's happening with Jackass 4, which we thought would happen. Here's the interesting part. It's not coming out to Paramount, which is the company that, produced and distributed the film. This is going to Netflix. So I gotta actually say it's probably a good business decision by Paramount. They premiered the base movie on, it's almost like a failsafe, right? You sell the rights to stream 4.5, so you guarantee you're making this chunk of change, but you put the primary movie on your streaming service, which Paramount Plus sucks like a bunch of dick.
Like not just content, the app itself. We covered that. It's really just an navigable, just nightmare of an application.
Yeah.
It's
but also
terrible.
the content is just bad. The content's bad. Just so we didn't mince any words. It's a cavalcade of bullshit. How's that? That's my big word of the night. But this is cool. I'm excited. And it comes out relatively soon. It looks like it's going to be coming out the end of May. That's May.
I didn't know if you were doing like a Tim Allen Tool Time thing at the end.
It's the best I can do. It's a little too high pitched, I think.
It was just pretty good though. Good first attempt.
Thanks. Okay, so I put this next week in review article up, and I don't think I want to talk about it. How's that feel? Do you want to talk about it? Because I don't feel like I have anything to say about it.
Well, now you have to, because I feel like you know exactly how much I want to say about this.
Probably not much, but we also told ourselves, we made a pact that we would stop saying I have nothing to say about this. And what makes this worse is that I put this in here, and here's why. I put this in here because it was early in the week when I put it in there, and I was afraid there might not be enough stuff to talk about, so I was filling it.
But then a bunch of shit happened this week.
But then a bunch of stuff I actually wanted to talk about happened. Fuck, Elon Musk is about to buy Twitter. We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
Because we're not a political/business podcast, but you should know about it.
Yeah, it happened. It happened like 3 hours ago.
Yeah, it all happened very quickly. Anyway. I feel like I'm high, but I'm not. Although I could be, because it's legal now in my state.
Oh, that's true. April 21st, one day after the pot day, after the weed day.
Pot day. I had a buddy
you don't
pop
need me
into-
anymore. I just realized that. There's a whole aspect of our relationship that's just been.
Yeah, but
86.
what if I'm too scaredy to go buy it?
Right.
I still need
I'll go do it on your behalf. I'm here for Chris.
I still need my big surly weed man. Surprise! Now it's legal. I can admit that I've smoked for a while, right? Like not heavily. In fact, I still have. I still have a lot in there.
Well, that's a whole lot. My God.
I barely used this one. That's because I fell back to drinking. Surprise! Bad combo. What was I going to say? Right. Legal in the state. I had a buddy in my stream last night who he was like, hang on, I'm going to go do my my state what do you say? My official state duty and light up this joint or some shit like that. My federally appointed, whatever. It's legal in Jersey now. If you like smoking, have fun. It's probably overpriced. Let me
almost certainly.
Let me ask you a question. I don't know if there's any truth to this or not.
Okay.
I've heard people say, because again, I have smoked, but I don't smoke heavily, very infrequently, to be honest. Even with this lovely pen that you got me. Some of my friends who do smoke pretty regularly, they said it's kind of a trade-off. So before, when you were buying from an illegal dealer on the streets, so put those in air quotes, because probably a rich kid in a nice neighborhood anymore. You could never, you don't know what's in it. You don't know how good it is. There's no quality control. So you could, I mean, sure, you go to somebody because they consistently might have good weed, but like, there's no real way to tell if he could sell you bullshit, you know? He could sell you oregano. Sorry, that was a Michael Myers reference from an old SNL skit. I've seen way too much of him in cat makeup. Yes, it's a furry reference, and yes, it's the Cat in the Hat. But now that it's legalized, it's way more expensive.
Yeah.
But it's like actually like good shit. Like you can be pretty sure that the stuff you buy in the store is going to be pretty strong. Is that true or not?
Yeah. In my opinion, it is. You have people who are like have been smoking. First of all, let me just start with this. I'm not like a huge stoner. It's like a glass of wine type thing for me. Like I never do when Odin's still awake. Once he goes to bed, Veronica and I get high. We just kind of laugh at whatever we're doing, and then we go to bed because it helps you go to bed early. It's really nice. I have insomnia.
That's exactly what I asked you for, and I've just been not doing what I know works very well.
And when I don't, I'm up until 2, 3, and then I'm only sleeping 2 or 3 hours, whatever. So it's mainly like a sleep aid. Not that I don't love getting high and watching goofy movies or playing video games or whatever.
Specifically the goofy movies.
So you have like
Coral.
So you have a lot of people who like, you know, have been smoking for decades. They're like, oh, there's no difference. Just go for the cheap stuff, blah, 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 blah. In my experience, like from when I was in my early 20s and I was smoking, I always had that experience where like, you'd have a guy or you'd have multiple people and you hand them money and you never know what they're giving back to you. Like, of course it can look like weed, but maybe there's like no THC in it. So it like sucks, but you're still paying the same amount of money that you would get for, you know, whatever. It's like, there's just an inconsistency there. With this, you pay more. It's more expensive. There's no way. There's no doubt about that. But it's like, it actually breaks down percentages of what's in it as far as like what's the THC content, what's the there's all kinds of different shit that goes into it for like the health benefit side of it. I've never read too deeply into that stuff, but like, do you want something that's going to keep you awake, something that's going to make you sleepy, something that's in between? That sort of like amount of selection to it makes it any day of the week much more worthwhile to me. I want to know exactly what I'm getting and exactly what I'm paying for, and if that means that I'm paying 15% more for a higher quality product, it's more than worth it to me. And again, like like people, I feel like people who don't like it are people who are smoking like an eighth of weed every single day, because at that point you're smoking so much. Of course, you want this stuff that's just cheapest and bought in the
alcoholics. Buy 30 packs of Coors Light because it's a Coors Light.
Because it's the cheapest 30 pack you can get. Exactly. It's not
the reason why Natty Ice exists beyond college. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's, in my opinion, it's more than worth it. It's not like it's twice as expensive or something. It's not something like overt like that. It's just a little bit of a hike up. I mean,
good. And now that we've taken up that time, I really don't have to talk about this article. No, I'm just kidding. So this article that I put in here. Wild tangents. If you're listening to episode 64 of The Cynical Nerd, you should know that probably at least a little bit by now. But if you don't, hey, nice to meet you.
Doing?
You can follow us on Twitter at The Cynical Nerd. We'll never post unless there's episodes.
Yeah.
We need a goddamn social media manager. Hey, if anybody out there wants to manage our social media
for free,
and I do mean for free,
well,
then hit us up.
It's fully a passion project.
100% passion project, and if things ever go upwards and we start making money somehow, some way, if any of our sponsors finally start paying us, you know, we'd be glad to throw you some shekels. But for right now, it's passion project. Anyway,
we'll be an asshole to you too. We're not going to be nice bosses. We're very difficult to work with.
That's not true. I'm nice. He plays bad cop. I'm a sweetie. Just don't take advantage of it, because then you'll really, I'll really sick Derek on you. Yeah. The Dark Side of Chris is like a Coheed song, I think. Anyway, there is this can't talk song from them called Dark Side of Me. Anyway, this was an article that I put in here before I knew we had enough content to fill the podcast this week. And it's more because it's mostly a speculation article with not a lot of hard facts, but it was about a topic that I was interested in, which is that there's news that dropped that there's an It prequel series heading to HBO Max. But that's really all that the news was. Variety announced it, so it's pretty legit as far as sources go. But it reports that the series, which would be called Welcome to Derry, would be set in the 60s.
Weak name. Awful.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. We dig into the origins of Pennywise and stuff. And look, the It book covers decades, and there is a ton of stuff you could mine and fill in the gaps. You know, it's like that period between episode 3 and 4 before they ruined it and filled it all in, when your brain could wander and good stuff happen. I'm kidding. Rogue One is the best Star Wars film out there.
Yeah.
Except for that really just fills in like the couple days before New Hope. So there's still a whole lot out there. And I just thought it would be cool to talk about it, but I don't really have a whole lot to say about it besides cool. Well, and I need more information.
The title is What We Want to See in the It series. And my answer to that is I don't want to see it at all. There's nothing. I just don't get why. How many times can I say this? Every fucking movie needs like a spin-off TV show on HBO Max. Every movie, like, can't the movie just be the movie? I feel like the new ones were really good. Part 1 was better than part 2. But either way, it's like they tell a good story and then just let the story be done. I feel like his past, like, not being known is part of what makes it so scary. And like, just as a testament to that, reading this article, I never read the book. I started to many times and I just haven't finished it. That's what I do. I start books. I don't finish them.
I like it.
And it said, you know, in the book, it's explained that he crash landed on an asteroid when the dinosaurs were still on the planet. And I'm like, knowing that makes me like less afraid of Pennywise the clown. Like, that is the stupidest origin story. Like, was he haunting dinosaurs? Like, what was his, what was he doing for 65 million years? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard for a horror movie. I get that Stephen King has some weird Stephen King like connected universe thing going on. I think it was more like adhering to that than anything else. But I'm like, okay, so clearly right out of the gate, I've learned something and I have less respect for the franchise now. So I don't want to know more and risk liking these movies that I really like even less. God bless you.
God bless you.
Chris also said God bless you.
I can't hear it, but I assume she said thank you.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, I'll probably hear it on your recording, because I think your Discord does the same thing mine does. It like has a filter on top of the other. But like the time she sang "Happy Birthday," I heard every word of that on the recording. It sounded like an asshole, because in the recording I'm like, I can't hear you. Yeah. All right, moving on from the It movie. I don't know. I thought the new ones were good. You're right. 1 was better than 2. Mm-hmm.
Although Bill Hader crushed it in 2. He was excellent.
He did. Speaking of Bill Hader, Barry season 3 is out. We talked about the trailer last week. I really want to start it. I keep seeing things about how dark the beginning of 3 is, and I'm like, ooh, daddy. I want to fall down a depression well. Give me. Anyway, not really. I'm just kidding. I don't need help. All right, let's move to some sad boy news. Not about depression, and then some weird news, and then trailers. So the sad boy news is that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is the sequel to the animated Miles Morales film that Sony made, has its release date getting pushed back again.
I just burped right into the microphone. I'm sorry. It was not a planned burp. It just happened. Just came out. Sorry.
I can't wait to. I can't wait to hear it. See, that, for example, I didn't hear that. But I'm sure I'll hear it on the...
You'll hear it. It's there.
Oh, you'll hear it. Originally slated to release October 7th, 2022, it will now be released June 2nd, 2023. So quite a push. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Delays are always a double-edged sword for me. On the one hand, we know the quality of product we got from the first film.
Yeah.
And if we hope that they can achieve anything close to that fucking wonderful film, take all the time you need.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, I am a greedy boy and I want it now. Give it to me right away.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the two wolves inside of me.
No, I pretty much agree. I mean, it's of course I'd like to see it sooner rather than later. But at this point, like everything is sort of coming back online, like as far as, you know, post-pandemic life. And I don't know, a lot of things are being delayed. It's kind of not surprising anymore to hear that the release window has been pushed back at this point. It was kind of like big news a couple years ago, and now it's just kind of like, oh, that too. Like, it's not really the most shocking news to hear.
Mm-hmm.
You said it. I'd love to see it, but whatever. The first one was so good. That movie is like special to me. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's not just like, wow, that was a good movie. That movie like meant something to me.
Oh,
and
it's so good.
If they can catch lightning in a bottle again, if they need a couple extra months to do that, then by all means, monks.
That's actually the delay. They'd been struggling to keep all the monks on staff.
Yeah, they keep setting themselves on fire.
You saw this. Oh no, too soon.
No, that guy did that like 40 years ago. This was another guy that did that the other day.
Oh, that's true.
I wouldn't make a joke about him. That would be in poor taste. I just made fun of another guy that self-immolated.
He wasn't a monk. He was a Buddhist, so, you know.
Right.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. That guy died for something he believed in.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to talk about it. It's not our place. It's not our podcast.
Well, it is our podcast. Let me be
it
clear.
Is our,
this is ours.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. What did you do that for? Okay, so next piece of news is the weird piece of news. I talked about this in chat earlier. Do you remember? Let me take you back, Derek. A couple years ago to a BlizzCon.
Take me. Mm-hmm.
And they took the center stage, and everybody was ready for some large-scale announcement, probably Diablo 4. It had been whispered in tomes, the tomes of men. And they got on stage and very tone-deaf announced a mobile game called Diablo Immortal. And when the audience reacted with stunned silence at I was going to say audacity, and then I thought, like, that's a silly word for the situation. But no, really, like, the audacity to main stage a mobile game announcement at your biggest con. And then when people question why you're doing, like, literally in the comments to the presenters saying, like, why are you doing this and not a Diablo 4? The guy's like, well, everyone's got a phone.
Yeah.
Which is now a memeable.
Oh, he said, do you guys not have phones? I think is what he said.
Yeah.
He's like, guys not have phones?
Yeah, which has now just been just saved in amber in the annals of the internet. They've carved it into stones. It's been memeified to death. Anyway,
dude, I can't believe, by the way, I looked that up, like that event, whatever BlizzCon that was. If you were to ask me before I looked it up what year that happened in, I would say 2016, maybe even 2015. Nope, 2018. Not even 4 years ago that happened. Time is so fucking weird. That feels like so much longer ago than that. I don't know.
A lot of shit's happened, bro. Yeah. That was pre-pan.
Pre-pan. As the historians will call it.
Yeah.
Soon enough.
Pre-panny.
Pre-panny.
Oh, wait, pre-pandemic. Pre-pandemic. That's what I was going to do. Anyway, so that game is finally coming out. They announced the release date of June 2nd. The interesting part that may not change your opinion whatsoever is that alongside a mobile release for iOS and Android, this game will be playable fully on PC. So there's basically a free-to-play Diablo game coming to PC and mobile. They've been hyping this. I mean, it's been in development for literal years. They've been hyping this up as a fully featured Diablo entry geared towards people who are going to be playing it on a mobile device. But if they return mouse and keyboard, Diablo's never had a super huge move set. It's always been a couple key moves per character. I don't know. I would be lying if I said this didn't interest me at least 50% more than it did before I knew it was coming out to PC. And only because I had so little interest in it before it was coming to PC.
Yeah.
And that just got announced today on their earnings call. So you can pre-register if you care. Thanks for the sponsor, Activision Blizzard. We might be returning your money.
Yeah.
But,
I
sorry.
can't believe this game is still coming out. I thought it was like so laughed into the ground that they just scrapped it because I haven't heard anything about it in like years.
Yeah, it's like a closed alpha for a long time.
That kind of blindsided me when you put that in Rat Chat earlier. No, I'll say this. You know, we should probably mention the WoW expansion that they announced last Tuesday. But here's related to that though is this. We talk a lot of shit on Blizzard here, and for very good reason. But my position moving forward, especially now they're being acquired by Microsoft, so you know, hopefully there will be some changes in how they treat their employees, and hopefully some of the people that were doing the mistreating will actually face the punishment that they deserve. I'm not like a Blizzard boycotter. Like I can't go as far as to say like I will never play a Blizzard game ever again. But their games have been of such like a low quality, or like they kind of trick you where they'll start off good enough and then clearly they just kind of like skimped on the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So you're kind of beyond the window where you could return it. I'll always wait. Something like this, like you said, I would be lying if I said I didn't go like, oh, okay, I could play this on PC too. Like, and then maybe, there's like cross save play, like when I'm at work on lunch or something, I can pick up my same dude and play. Like that kind of sounds interesting. Like I can't lie, like that seems cool. Will I install this and be ready to play day one? No. Same thing with the new expansion. Well, whenever it ends up coming out, Dragonflight or something, I think it's called.
Dragonflight.
First of all, their most underwhelming cinematic that they've ever put out in the history of their company.
It is.
Secondly, it's just like all the features that you had discussed sound great. They sound awesome. But
they've done that before.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I mean. I'll never be a day one buyer ever again. I want to wait. Probably like even other stuff, you tend to, I try to wait like the first week or two to see how the reviews look. With Blizzard, I feel like it takes longer. I feel like they're sneakier than that. Like you almost have to wait like a month or two to see what people are saying to really like jump on board. So that's going to be my method moving forward with Blizzard.
And here's the fucking problem with that, especially with a game like World of Warcraft. If you wait a month, you're behind.
You're super behind.
Like a lot, like even casually behind.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wasn't planning on talking about it, but you're right. We should. It happened during the week and all that good stuff. It happened last Tuesday, just after the last sode, if you will. Yeah. So they announced Dragonflight. Derek's right. Cinematic was underwhelming. I still liked it because one of the main reasons I like World of Warcraft so much is because of the deep and rich lore. And I understand to all you purists out there that they have retconned and contradicted themselves countless times, but the overarching lore I love. I know Blizzard's MO at this point, not MMO. MO stands for modus operandi, Latin.
Did you get the fedora? Go put it on.
Yeah, my mustache hairs are tickling my nose. Sorry. I digress so easily. It's like an ADHD thing. Anyway, I like their lore and their history, and I've always liked the stuff they've done with the various dragon flights. No pun intended there. And here's the thing: between Shadowlands, I've historically always been, and I'll go back, Warcraft player. Even if I only played the expansion and got to max level and barely did anything else, and every time they'd announce a new one, I'd go, "That seems kind of cool," and then it would get closer and closer, and my brain would start to freak out. And be like, bro, we're going back, bro. Can't wait, bro. Let's go, bro. Let's go level, bro. And you know what it is? It's like going back to old friends. And that's a multi-layered thing because I am literally going back to play with people who I may not have played with since the last expansion. Old friends of mine. Mm-hmm. We're all now getting older. There's a nostalgic factor there. But also, going back to literally, I know they're virtual characters and this sounds silly, but my main warlock, Dragnos, I made him when I first started playing World of Warcraft back during the initial expansion. We're talking like 2008. When did Burning Crusade come out? Like 2009. Something like that. he's got so much time played. It's crazy. I've done so many things with that character.
Just so you know, like, I'm saying this with like no hints of joking or insincerity. Yeah. I don't think that's corny at all. Like you do feel attached to your characters that you've poured literal years into the, you know, like building them up. And cool and revisit them. Exactly.
And so, you know, he's done a lot. And I, you know, that character, I have like headcanon of that character. Yeah. I mean, not super in depth because I've race changed him a couple times, so that doesn't make any sense. But hey, we all make mistakes, like going Worgen for a bit and deciding to fuck the Alliance. Anyway, so
same.
After I just threw my pencil. After Shadowlands came out, and there was vast disappointment after initial release. So, and once again, looked cool. We started playing.
Yeah.
And then I quickly realized that there just wasn't a whole lot back here. There was just the same couple of things to do on a day-to-day basis. Happens a lot, but some expansions balance it better than others. Legion was a really good one with post-launch content. There just seemed to always be something to do, and it just didn't seem the same in Shadowlands. And between that and them miring themselves in controversy, I was like, all right, I'm fucking 35. I'm annoyed at Blizzard for what they had done publicly, even though it's not the developers of this game's fault. Most of those employees are good, upstanding people, I'm sure. There's a lot of employees or CEOs and directors of Blizzard that were mainly the culprits here.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I think I'm done. I'm no matter what the next expansion is, I'm not going back right away. Unless. And the unless was something that Final Fantasy XIV has always done very well, which is... So one of my biggest gripes with WoW, and it's not even one that you would expect. Most people don't care about this. Is flying. Flying, Blizzard's always had a contentious relationship with flying in the beginning of an expansion because this is the excuse they've always given. They want you to experience the content on the ground. These people painstakingly design these levels to have a good flow to them, and they want you to see all these little secrets. And on paper, that makes sense to me. But then they would always lock flying behind like several patches and a big achievement, which was like
huge.
You had to do all the dungeons and blah blah blah. And to the person who's logging in every day for a couple hours, you probably hit that achievement before it unlocks. But it was this big gate just to do something that I'd already earned the right to do through all these other expansions, and it always felt not only archaic, but like punishing to players. And the way Final Fantasy handles it, when you get to max level, once you unlock flying in general, in the zones, there's these little like vortexes. I forget what they're called. They're little like green swirly, like look like wisps almost from World of Warcraft. Mm-hmm. And as you progress through the zone, you'll find them in various places, just randomly scattered throughout the zone, and you can actually track them, and you have like a little device that kind of pings you when you're closer to one and stuff like that. Because sometimes they're up on a hill and you got to figure out how to get up there, stuff like that. But it kind of always naturally works out that by the time you're done the zone, you've found all of these, I really forget what they're called, these little swirling nodes. Mm-hmm. And once you find all of them, you can fly in that zone. And that's it. So it's basically like a per zone thing. You finish leveling in the zone, so you see all the ground content, because they probably have the same philosophy too. But then once there, sure, fly. Well, why not? Why wouldn't you be able to use the thing that you've unlocked and spent your time in? And it's always been such a point of contention for me with WoW. And guess what? That was a very, very long-winded way of saying it's like they fucking read my mind, and they're like, we got to get Chris Reed back here. They're introducing, not only are you going to be able to fly basically from go or very early in the expansion, but they're kind of revamping flying in the Dragon Isles to try and make it more engaging. Mm-hmm. You can customize your dragon to an insane degree. There's different like noses, colors, wing textures. But then you can also, like, as you're flying, you can dive bomb off a cliff and build up speed and momentum. And, you know, they're trying to make it more engaging. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, fuck you guys. I'll see you day one.
Well, that's my version of that is skill trees. Ever since Kata, when they took skill trees away, I never understood that. I felt like, and I feel like a lot of people were asking for it. And that's the annoying thing to me, is that it took all of this. You have like literally a decade of people saying like, can you just do these things? and then just go, ooh, sorry, like the fucking nipple rubbing thing from South Park. Ooh, sorry, can't do it. Oh, that
lip
would
up
be
the
too much work.
flaps.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, it's like you have all these sexual assault allegations, and you have your subscribers leaving and going to Final Fantasy 14, and all of a sudden, you have the means to make this thing happen that people have been asking for this whole time.
Yeah.
That is so annoying. And because my initial reaction was like, oh, sweet. And to go back, I know that's what they wanted. And they're playing mind games with me. And so I will not be there day one.
I'm proud of you.
Under no circumstances. I don't care how good it is. I'm waiting like 2 months to see how it is, how people talk about it. And then I'll come back. Because that just pisses me off. It's just like...
No.
It's just like, and then what happens? You go back and the same annoying pattern of behavior starts as soon as they hit their numbers again. I mean, it's.
I respect, Gorsh. I respect your wherewithal. I wish I shared it. I said I'll see you day one for dramatic effect. Excuse me, for dramatic effect on the end of my conversation. In reality, so talent trees coming back are a major thing, and again, that's what most people are talking about.
Yeah.
I'm just the asshole who's been so annoyed by one particular issue of flying that it's like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Talent trees are one of those things that felt like it set WoW apart. Like that was a unique identifier of World of Warcraft. Final Fantasy doesn't have talent trees. There's nothing. Once someone pointed that out to me, and I went, holy shit, they don't. I didn't even notice it for the first couple levels. It's this kind of uniquely World of Warcraft thing. I remembered playing old expansions, and you would look up these builds, and of course, some of that is illusion of choice, because if you're going to do the most damage, then there's very specific ones you should pick. But there's freedom in that, because you can also make weird hybrid builds where maybe you have like, you don't have the more powerful abilities, but because you can get like lower tier ones and more than one tree, you can have this cool, useful hybrid build that let you do things that some people couldn't.
I would always do hybrid builds. I just loved it. Like, I don't know. You could always find some way to like streamline to the end, so you get like the ultimate ability of one tree, but then still get a couple points in the other two. Yeah.
And you can always get, you like, as a warlock, I would get to the bottom of destruction, but make sure I pulled shadow burn from the other one.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and just to be clear, like people who do go back day one, like I'm not shitting on you. I mean, I think even back when we first announced that people were leaving because of I think it was when like California sued them or something. And Scott was the first person to say like, oh, on Twitter, everybody's, making other people feel like shit for saying they're not leaving the company. And he's like, I'm leaving, but I don't give a fuck who stays. I mean, if you want to play the game, play the game. And that's, to this day, that's how I feel about it. I just don't. Yeah. It's just my personal, No, I wasn't being facetious. I'm impressed by your wherewithal. So I'm not on board with day one yet. And I said this in chat, and this is actually the more calm, reserved, mild-mannered Chris Reed after he said time to think about things and not make a rash decision, which is that they do this every time. Now, sure, the things they're announcing are very titillating to me. Specifically, it's like they tailored Dragonflight to my brain, but they do this every time, and they announce a bunch of shit, and inevitably something gets cut or pulled back due to development constraints. And the thing you're left with day one is lacking stuff. Some things might be coming in the next patch. Yeah.
And you find out that really it's not as great as it sounded, and blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of what I'm kind of at a wait and see. Like, let me get to a month before launch, and we'll see what kind of promises they're making. And if they match up with what they are now, then I'll probably pick it up day one. And if they've modulated or cut a bunch of shit down or pushed it to a patch 4 months out from launch, then I'll pull a Derek, and I'll wait a little bit, because there won't be a reason for me to hop in. But that was the unscheduled Dragonflight reveal conversation.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we had it. And I do love that they're getting back to just old world Azeroth. Again, Lord Nerd, the Dragon Isles were literally planned content that they cut from
I just
classic.
saw Sadie on your thing, and it made me think she was in my room. I don't know what just happened.
That happened the reversed happened,
Jesus
remember?
Christ.
Remember? Veronica,
you saw Veronica and thought she was in...
and like right here, and I was like, ah! Anyway, hey, Sadie.
I was like, what the fuck is a dog doing in my room right now?
Come up here. She don't like to jump up on the chair for some reason. Come here, you old girl.
Look, Veronica heard her name and doesn't know the context and is now staring over here.
I'll wave. See if she waves back. She waved back. Yay! I have control over your arms. I'm a puppet master. Now do this. Nope, she's not looking anymore. I lied. Love you, Ron. Anyway, all right. So we're jumping into our trailers. How's your colon feeling? You okay?
I'm good. I think I'm good. I think we can do this.
All right. You can usually tell by now if it's going to be an emergency. Right, you know what I mean? Let's be real. We're in our 30s. Every shit's an emergency. Yeah. Isn't that the truth? Okay. So first trailer in the list is Meltdown, 3 Mile Island. Now I put this in here. You might be thinking, Chris, this isn't a superhero show. And you'd be right. But guess what? We watched Jimmy Savile last time. So fucking deal with it. Sometimes we're going to have random things in here. I always heard the name 3 Mile Island growing up. Yeah. And I knew that there was something within the nuclear plants having an issue. And I never knew the full extent of what happened. 100% the only reason I put this in here. I'm curious about what happened here at the 3 Mile Island nuclear plant. It's one of the worst nuclear incidents in U.S. history. And it comes out on Netflix on May 4th. So I'm going to watch it and see what the fuck happened. And we might talk about it if it's interesting enough. That's all I really have to say about it. I just want to know.
No, it does look interesting. It seems like there's more. Like, I didn't know. I remember being a kid and hearing about them referring to it. It seems like this happened in the 70s. So I guess it was still just a hot topic at that point. Or maybe like some new piece of information had emerged about it. And that's it. Like, I never knew much about it. That's like in my area now. That's like where I'm sort of near-ish to that.
Okay.
So, no, I think it looks good. It looks like it's a mix of, interviews, which any good documentary should have, and dramatization that looks like it actually had a fair amount of thought and budget put into those sets. So I don't know. That's an interesting approach to it. No, I agree. It looks good.
It's from the producers of Aaron Brockovich, which is kind of a memed on movie, but it is actually a pretty good movie. And also, can we just take a second, pour one out for how hot Julia Roberts was in that era?
Yeah, real honey.
Julia Roberts. I'm not trying to objectify you, but you were a gorgeous woman. Anyway, moving along. This is a weird one. This is a video game, and I feel like I'm having deja vu. There's a Ghostbusters VR game, officially teased for the. I'm not calling it the Meta Quest. Okay, I hate that fucking name. It's just a Quest. It's a Quest 2. Sony Pictures Virtual Reality. They announced another Ghostbusters VR game, and it's start Ghostbusters HQ in San Francisco and solve a deep mystery. Blah blah blah. Right? And I'm sitting here and going like, why does this? Didn't we just cover this? And it's because like not a month ago, Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed was announced, which is the 4v1 asymmetrical multiplayer game. From the creators of Friday the 13th and Predator Hunting Grounds, Ilphonic. And I don't...
Oh, this is not the same game?
No.
Oh, I thought it was just it was announcing that it was VR compatible.
I checked. They're completely separate games.
That's fucking weird. Why would
to you, I would say, how? Because that's what you're saying is, this is just a VR version of that. What's the difference going to be?
Yeah. Why would you advertise two games that are so similar in the same
close
window?
Together?
Yeah, that's bizarre. I didn't even question it when I saw it. I was like, oh, they're just announcing that game is going to be in VR. I didn't think about it 1 second longer than that. That is really a weird decision.
Yep. Well, like why these games aren't combined, I have no idea.
Yeah. Weird.
There's nothing else for me to say. I have no clue. I just want to hear someone. I want to hear someone like with no jokes. I want them to describe to me the features of each game and try their best to tell me
that they're
what the difference is. Right. Like, well, what do you do in this one? Oh, well, you get some ghost traps and some proton packs and you get your buddies together and you
You look for
go
the
in this
ghosts.
area and like is the only difference here going to be that like the ghost you're catching is not actually controlled by a person? Because that's all I'm getting.
Yeah.
Like one's a 4v1 asymmetrical. This just says Ghostbusters VR, but you still play with your. I'm done. There's nothing else to talk about. I was so sure that I was reading something wrong that I found the trailer that we watched the last podcast to make sure it was a completely separate developer and a separate entity. But it's not. So fucking we'll see which one wins. I hope they come out at the same time too, to really just confuse everybody.
Wait, is it the same like company that's developing them too?
No, it's a different company.
Okay, I misunderstood.
But I hope they come out at the same time. And I want someone to I want someone to break up a pool stick and drop it between them like in Dark Knight and just see who fucking comes out on top, which is the better Ghostbusters game break. All right, more video game news. This is just 11 minutes of gameplay, and it's fucking 11 minutes of gameplay. And every fucking, I didn't watch the whole thing, but every minute I did watch it, it did nothing but remind me of my fucking childhood.
Yeah.
And I was really stoked about this, and I felt like everybody else was kind of like, meh. This is, I don't know how you feel about it, though. They dropped, to not bury the lead here, 11 minutes of gameplay for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which is a side-scrolling beat-em-up, and I swear to God, if I didn't know any better, I would say that they were just remastering Turtles in Time because it looks exactly like it, with a couple caveats, but I'll get into them in a minute. Did you play Turtles in Time? Are you excited for this? Does this pique your interest at all?
I played Turtles in Time, but not to the extent that I feel like everyone else did. But if you're asking
beat the shit out of it,
do I like beat 'em up games? I was like totally enamored by them as a kid. All the Spider-Man games that like people say now sucked, and I'm like, all right, well then I'm never gonna play them again because I have such good memories of them.
Yeah, don't ruin it.
Streets of Rage, which I have been trying to get my fucking friends to play the fourth one with me since it dropped, and I just
I'm
can't
down,
seem
bro.
to
Let's
get a group
go
together. I love this style of game. This reminded me of the Scott Pilgrim game that came out like 10-ish years ago. Both in graphical style and sort of the retro kind of gaming music, which was just excellent throughout this entire. I did the same thing. Yeah. I skimmed it. Skimmed is a bad word. I would watch like 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there. I just didn't like watch the solid 11 minutes all the way through. I did watch the two boss battles. First one was with Bebop. Second one with Rocksteady. I might have said that backwards, but in any event, it looks like just a simple classic beat 'em up, like nothing too crazy. Simple, fun with 3 friends, and Shotgun Mikey when we play it.
Shotgun Mikey, that's fine. There's a real early on, they're beautifully animated, and every character there's like a sprint ability, and whenever Mikey runs, he's like, with his fucking nunchuck. No, I think it looks really cool, and I said a few caveats earlier. That wasn't like in a bad way. I meant like it looks so much like Turtles in Time. The combat animations, the fucking graphics, the really like they captured the spirit of that game a whole lot, and it looks really good. Yeah. But I did notice some things that look new to this. Like there's like a super attack meter, and I noticed them pulling off sick moves to, like really in tandem. Cool. And that was not a thing I don't think back then. At least I don't recall it. I mean the boss fights, like they remind me of something that you would see in Turtles in Time.
Yeah.
I mean, there were, I almost feel like this has to be just straight up repurposing some of those levels, because they go to the Big Apple, they go to like New York, and it literally has like the screen and it says Big Apple, and I can hear the voice in my head of like the turtle announcer in that game, like telling you you're at the new level. Mm-hmm. Like it would literally be like Big Apple, 3 p.m. And you would, I don't know, I can't do it. I'm sorry.
It was good enough.
Yeah.
I don't remember the game. Like I said, I didn't play it well. So like what you could have done anything and I would have went, yeah, that's how it was.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I can't wait though. It looks, it
does.
So fun.
It looks exceptionally good. No, I love that style of game. Soundtrack was just tight. Fun, classic, retro video game music. It looks like a good time.
Someone's shredding the keyboard right now. Yeah. I had it playing in the background.
Did you play the Scott Pilgrim game?
No, but I've seen it. Yeah. I've seen it, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's very good. Very good game.
All right. Moving on. 3 more trailers, then we can get into our main topics. Monstrous. I gotta be honest with you.
Be honest, please.
The only reason
I know why. Go ahead.
CR, baby. The only reason I put this trailer in
girl.
our document, that's the woman. She's it.
She's the only woman that's allowed to the glory hole.
Jesus Christ. I love that for you. Oh man, no, seriously. Like obviously, I'm not talking about cheating. If you were single and had no son and no Ron.
Yeah.
I like the way that I said no son and no Ron. It sounds funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you had no son and no Ron and you were like, dude, I got drunk last night, went to a bar and I fucked Christina Ricci.
Yeah.
I would
you'd suck my dick.
No. Further, I would ask if I could sniff it to see if something was left.
Right.
No, she, all womanizing aside, and I hope that you understand that we're joking as far as the gross things that we're saying.
I love that to get into the serious thing to say. We got, look, all womanizing aside.
Yeah, all demeaning comments aside.
Let's just set the misogyny aside for just a second here and get serious.
He got me with that one.
Let's put the demeaning cum jokes about your pussy on the table for just a moment. I just want to say something sincere to you, Christina.
In comes the restraining order. No, seriously. I mean, yeah, she's a beautiful woman. It's not really a secret. I apologize for the myriad of horrible jokes that we make at your expense. However, she's also a pretty good actor, and I thought this trailer looked interesting enough for me to give it at least a 1 or 2 episode watch. It's a series called Monstrous.
Oh, it's a show. I thought this was a movie.
It is. Sorry, it is a movie. Okay. I'm totally. It shows how much I paid attention besides seeing Christina Ricci.
Right. All your brain blood went to your cock, and you couldn't think straight.
No, seriously. Not only did I think it was a show, I thought it was a show streaming on Prime. Like my brain is legit fumbling something around. I've made a mistake somewhere. Anyway, Monstrous official trailer. May 13th. It's relatively soon, but it looks like a low budget as far as like horror comes now. Like they don't give horror movies a huge budget anymore because they don't know what they're gonna make. But it looks like a mother-son. They leave like an abusive ex-husband and they go into a new and all that stuff is like it's like check boxes of like you have like the horror like bingo card. And someone's just picking out like single mother, past abuse, dealing with a young son who's probably going to say, I hate you at some point. And she's going to feel really bad. And then something scary is going to happen. But there's potential here. First off, it looks really fun. Like there's like a certain style to it. Like it's almost like it's like the music plays in the beginning. It's almost like a Leave It to Beaver. Yeah. Like she's like, you ready, Freddy? You know what I mean? But then, and that means that when the scary stuff happens and things get real serious, it almost like it makes it way worse. I don't know. The trailer is okay to slightly better than okay. Like if my brain had to rate the trailer, it would be like a 70%. Like I'm interested in it. I don't have like the most faith in the world that it's going to be this, amazing thing. But hey, I mean, if it is even halfway decent, then I'll be impressed because most horror stuff anymore fails to impress me, and I'm sorry, just the way it is.
I thought it looked pretty decent. Christina Ricci is beautiful. She's also a wonderful person. She's open about this. She didn't tell me this. I'm not betraying her confidence or anything, but she was pretty
not one of your nighttime chats.
Yeah, no. Before we go to bed, we're just like, all right, how was your day? Yeah, mine too. All right, see ya.
I call her the Reach.
The Reach. Yo, Reach, what's up, girl?
Which made a very confusing back when we both played Halo Reach together.
Reach, you down for some Reach?
Sorry.
No, she was sexually assaulted by her dad like a lot as a kid. And so the only reason I mention is she's very open about it because the reason she has these gaps in her career is that she does a lot of humanitarian work for people who were sexually assaulted by their parents. So she's not only a beautiful woman, not only a talented woman, she's just a tremendously good person. So I'm always happy to see her. This looks good. Not great. I feel the same way. I'm kind of jilted by or jaded rather by horror at this point. There were some shots that were kind of terrifying. There's like a part where she walks into a room and everything kind of looks like a Picasso painting, like it's sort of melting.
Yeah, that was cool.
There's clearly like a psychological aspect that they're playing on because she calls her doctor and is like, oh, I think maybe I should go back on my meds or something like that.
Yeah.
My main criticism is the main criticism I have with every horror movie trailer, and that's that they show the fucking monster in the trailer. So now I know exactly what's waiting on the other side of that door when I go see this movie.
Yeah, but there are multiple creatures in here, so it doesn't look like it's just one thing.
Oh, okay. I thought it was.
And to me, at least in this trailer, it looked like maybe they're all the same type of entity, but there's like a thing on a roof when she glances over, which was unsettling at first. I was like, oh, God. It's like the kind of thing like it's late at night and the lights are out and you're about to go to bed and you have to like close the front door and you glance outside. And there's like a millisecond where your brain's like, you're going to see something that's going to scare you to death. And then you look and it's fine. And this time it wasn't.
Yeah.
Oogie boogie. Anyway.
Alas, Oogie boogie.
A very last. I'll give the show a chance. I knew that she was a great humanitarian, and that's only because she's been on a couple podcasts that I listened to over the years. She's been on Nerdist with Chris Hardwick, and a couple other. Honestly, I'm drawing a blank. I think she. Who did she talk to? It's on the tip of my tongue. I'll come back to it. But I've heard her talk about humanitarian efforts and stuff she's done to help people. I didn't somehow know that she was abused as a kid, and I don't know how that escaped my.
I'm gonna feel so
base.
shitty if I'm thinking of another actress. So
I mean,
I'm
that's
gonna have to fuck TCN myself if that's the case. But
yeah, we're humans, so you might be right.
Yeah,
could be wrong too. Roll the dice, see where it comes up. Anyway, I made an oopsie. That comes out May 13th. Next trailer. I was being very forceful to make myself move on. We've talked about this before. This should be a quicker conversation. More about still into it, maybe not. Change your opinion. Lightyear had a new trailer come out. We talked about this last time, and my opinion has not changed. I think this looks like it could be really special.
Yeah.
It speaks to me directly because I love space and exploration. June 17th comes out. Chris Evans is the voice of our buddy Buzz Lightyear, and it just looks like such a unique, like, who in the idea room was like, hey, let me like turn Buzz into like a real person and give him an origin story, and we're gonna be like earnest about it and like emotional and funny, and it's gonna be like a space adventure, and there's gonna be, you know, scary battles and bad guys, and fucking give that guy a gold star, because like this looks cool.
Yeah,
I want to see it. That's all. Trailer's good.
It does look like a really good time. I remember when they first released a still of like the real human Buzz Lightyear.
Weren't you freaked out?
Before I had watched the trailer, I was like, "Ugh, really? Like we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel now, aren't we?" And both of these trailers so far have been really good. Like, and this one I think is better than the last. I think the last one sort of gave like more of just a flavor for the film. They had the Bowie song in it, which always just kind of wins me over a little bit.
Oh, man.
And this one it gave you a little bit more about the story. I guess he accidentally gets like propulsed like 60 years ahead in time or something.
Yeah.
And so he learns everyone that he knows and loves is dead. He's stranded on a planet.
Just like Captain America. And, Chris Evans is a one-note actor.
Yeah, holy shit. Hey, you're just doing that thing again. But
you've been here before.
But no, it looks good. It looks really excellent. I can't wait for it.
What if like Chris, anytime anybody ever brought anything to Chris Evans, like his contract stipulation is the character has to jump forward in time and lose everyone they loved, and they're like, why, Mr. Evans? And he's like, it's the only way I can connect anymore.
Yeah. He's like, hang on, do I take a nap and then wake up and all my family is dead? No, get out of my fucking office.
Yeah, it can even be a half-hour nap on the couch. It doesn't matter. Time's irrelevant. Just make sure they're all fucking dead by the time they wake up, all right? Which means he's going to be good for a horror movie. Next up on the list. Better get in on that A24.
Slept through a home invasion.
Oh, no. But did he really, or was he just being a coward and pretending he was asleep?
Now that's an A24
the
production.
Mystery.
There we go.
Yeah, exactly. If it was A24, he definitely slept through it, and then he's racked with guilt and has to live with it.
Yeah, and he jerks off in the bathroom at some point in there.
Damn, Sadie scared the shit out of me. Anyway, last little thing. This isn't actually a trailer. This was just cool. Unreal Engine 5 came out. They released it to developers to kind of play around with it, and this is going to get their feel. But this was released alongside the Matrix film, and it was like the big vast city, and it looks gorgeous. The lighting, especially in the Unreal Engine 5 city, is tremendously good looking. And someone fucking made a Superman model that can fly around, and it looks great. I don't remember the last time they did a Superman game. It's been quite some time.
Long time.
But if they were to do a Superman game where you fly and it looked like this, I would totally be fucking down. I don't know how you would make gameplay compelling because he's an invulnerable god. What does every criminal in the city have a fucking kryptonite ring on? But it looks fun. I mean, they show him there's something so super visceral about the way this guy nailed flying. It's like the second you get to take off, there's like the sonic boom behind him, and it looks so fucking cool. And I hope someone sees this guy's concept work here and is like, hey, I think you have something. Maybe we should do this.
So is this the exact city from the Matrix? Like it's the same. He just put Superman in that city. Okay.
Yep.
So I was going to say, like, not that the flying physics and that the Superman model were not impressive, but I'm like, if this dude made this whole city with moving cars everywhere, that's insanely impressive.
Yeah, no, he didn't do that.
Okay. All right. In any event, it was cool to watch.
It was pretty nifty. That's it. That's all we got. We're gonna shill for a second, and we're gonna talk about our main topics. How you doing? You get a pee? You get a poo?
I think I'm good. I think I can do it.
Okay.
I think
all right. We'll blast through these bad boys. Oh wait. Oh no.
Oh no.
I just realized something.
What did you realize?
I'm pulling a Derek.
Uh-oh.
I'm pulling an audible. I totally forgot to watch Moonfall.
Oh, I have great news for you.
Did you also not get to watch it? Oh, we're bad people. It's okay. You did watch Spine of Night?
I did watch Spine of Night. I watched Moon Knight 4, and I watched Outer Range 1 and 2. I meant to watch 3 and 4, but I never got around to it.
You mentioned Moonfall the other night, and I went, yo, I totally watched it. I didn't. I just didn't watch it. And I want to. Derek and I have been looking forward to the guilty pleasure that we both know Moonfall will be.
Let's just add it to next week. I think we have X and
I was going to say,
that.
Yep, we have the A24, Speak of the Devil, movie X, probably will Speak of the Devil. It's a horror movie.
Yeah.
So many references and puns in one sentence. How can I even continue living? It'll never get better, boys. We have X we're going to watch for next week, which means the thumbnail will most likely be DMX related.
Yeah.
He's going to give it to you. And I'm really sorry. I'm not though. So we have X. It's really hard not to say gonna give it to you every time I say X. We have X to watch next week.
Proud of you.
And we'll add Moonfall to it. I did it. I'm proud of myself. But real quick before we continue, we don't have any emails this week. If you want to email us and have us answer questions, comments, concerns, call us idiots, tell us you love us.
Please, we need to hear it from time to time.
Yeah, I really need the positive reinforcement. Yeah. Questions at thecynicalnerd.com. Derek, he really can't be awake 24/7 to give me the positive reinforcement I need. So I need others.
It's true.
You guys have to work in shifts, unpaid.
He's very needy.
To give me. I am very needy, sexually and emotionally.
I'll take care of the sexual stuff, though. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. You're not touching that.
Emotional, I'm not so great at.
Yeah. I don't like the hugging. So X and Moonfall next week. But you can, on Twitter, we are at The Cynical Nerd. I already said questions at The Cynical Nerd to email us. Cynical Nerd, questions at thecynicalnerd.com. If you want to tweet at us, it is hashtag AskTCN to ask us a question. Hashtag FuckTCN to tell us we messed something up. I should probably start shilling. I think I'm going to start shilling in the beginning of episodes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I think doing it in the middle, what's the listen through rate? Let's be realistic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the Cynical Nerd. Find us on Twitter. I think that might work out pretty good.
I feel like you're right.
Next, Moon Knight. We'll do Moon Knight first. I'm going to say Moon Knight, Outer Range, Moon Knight, Spine of Night, Outer Range.
Okay? Yep, agree.
Cool. Moon Knight, episode 4, shakes things up a little bit.
I hate that you said that. I feel like I'm on what's it called?
Oh, no.
IndieWire, I don't know, Kotaku. Episode 4 splashes things up a little bit.
I said shakes things up, but same.
Okay, you did. All right, I'm sorry.
But I mean, thanks for our newly acquired subsidiary, Kotaku, for picking the podcast up and wholly owned subsidiary. Really, I am going to get us in some kind of legal trouble if we ever go anywhere.
Right. Well, all the money that we get from Kotaku will help pay for our legal bills, so I'm not too worried about it.
It's a real Ouroboros. Anyway, Moon Knight episode 4 really shakes things up a bit. So it does, though. I don't know how else to say it. We get an interesting episode. I went, so just general thoughts right away. Liked it, didn't like it. I liked it. I've liked this series kind of throughout so far. I think it had a good, strong opening. 2, I was kind of middling on, but 3 and 4 I have liked a lot. And 4 takes things into a new and weird area that I wasn't sure they were gonna do in the show. They did it they've done it in the comics, the stuff that I'm referring to, which we'll get to after I get Derek's overarching thoughts on. But I liked it. There's 2 episodes left. I want to see what happens. I want to see how weird they get. In my mind, WandaVision starts off weird and interesting, and then got dull and dull and dull until it was, you're like, oh, I see. You were shaping clay of something that was a unique property all the way down into something that's just like every other Marvel statue that you've had. And in this one, I feel like it's kind of been a little bit of the opposite, where maybe not 100%, but it starts off more or less normal. Something weird's going on with him, but you know, you see some teases of the hero, blah, blah, blah. It feels kind of the same. And now we're just getting into weird shit. For Christ's sake, there's a fucking CGI hippo at the end of this one.
It's true.
And I kind of want to, I hope that it sticks a landing, because I want the weird stuff I want them to pull it off, and I want it to stand on its own as this kind of weird corner of the Marvel universe. And that's it for general thoughts. Did you dislike? Feel okay?
So I liked this one. I'm having this weird thing where I actually kind of can't wait for you to talk about it, because I can't remember like what happened in this episode. Like I'm thinking of the show on a whole, as a whole rather, and like I don't know exactly like the defining point where like
this is easy. You ready?
To hit me with it.
The first half is The Mummy, starring Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz, as they go through a tomb, and there's like a resurrected,
okay,
undead creepy, which was, and I'm not like exaggerating for comedic effect, actually kind of scary. Like there's a scene where he's on top of some scaffolding, and the thing is like crawling to get him, and you see the fingers through the board, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
It does this weird clicking thing, which is like some visceral reaction that makes me just kind of. So that was kind of creepy. And then the second half of this episode is like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Yeah, not really, but it's some head stuff that we're not. Him there? What happened? I forget what led up to him. He gets shot. Right. Yeah. Okay. Right as he opens Alexander the Great's tomb, he gets shot, and then that's okay. Yeah. Right. No, I liked it. I actually, after 3, like I said, I wasn't into 3. Like I hated it. I thought it was really bad. I thought it was boring. I thought it was just all fat. There was like no lean meat on it. And then this one was the exact opposite. Like everything that was happening, it felt engaging. It felt important. It felt like, each scene just like effectively and interestingly led into the next scene. Right. Yeah, broad strokes. That's it. It was good. I liked it. Yeah, it had a really good pace to it because it was very well paced. It felt like you were watching like, you said it, The Mummy or like Indiana Jones or something. Like, right. It just, I don't know. It felt like an adventure. Not to maybe sound a little bit of cornet, but maybe a little bit of National Treasure in there mixed in. Just a dash, just the salt mysterious of National Treasure. Just the mysterious long lost tomb of Alexander the Great. I was like, where's Nick Cage at? I don't know. I don't know why he's involved, but he is. Speaking of which, total side tangent. I'll be right back. I promise. That massive Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent movie, apparently pretty good. It's getting good reviews. It's getting very good reviews. There's a lot of stuff in theaters right now that's getting very, very good reviews. I would like to see it, but we will not be paying for it. So whenever it comes out to streaming, we can't wait to talk about it. Yeah. Anyway, this movie, and I think it pulled off the good pace because it does feel, it feels like the like the third quarter of a mummy movie where like the bad guys are in the tomb that they're trying to get to. So the good guys are racing to meet them to stop them from doing whatever nefarious shit they're going to do. And they get there and there's these creepy creatures that keep the pace moving through the tomb so they can't dawdle. Mm-hmm. But you also get reveals. You find out that Mark was there when I forget her name. Oh, damn it.
Yeah, when her dad.
Shit. Laurie? I don't know. I could be butchering it. Let's, you know what? Let me look it up while we're talking. You get reveals that Mark Spector was there when his wife's father was killed. He was an archaeologist, Layla, who was an archaeologist. And she finds that out in the middle of all this shit that's happening, and she kind of confronts him about it. And then, sorry, they find the guy. They find our boy, Ethan Hawke, and they're performing a ritual, and he gets shot. And looks like he's, I don't know, something crazy's happening. He falls down into the water. Very, what the fuck is the name of the movie? Jordan Peele, Get Out.
Oh, yes. In a Get Out-ish manner.
When he falls into like his subconscious and he's like in the dark, it reminded me of that. Like he falls into some water, but then he's immediately like weightless, and he wakes up in what looks like a mental hospital. And he's like drugged up. He can't really like talk. He gets better as the episode progresses, but all these characters, there's Easter eggs of all these people that have been in the show so far, like the gift shop manager. And I think the girl who he asked out on a date was in there. And the guy who was in gold paint is the guy that was giving out the bingo balls. Mm-hmm. Little cool nods like that. And you find out that Ethan Hawke's character, Arthur Harrow, is his psychiatrist, and he's watching the show that's like an old Indiana Jones ripoff. Yeah, and the guy's name is Stephen Grant, and you're like, oh shit, like is that where he got the name from and the persona of being obsessed with Egyptian culture? And then he's talking to Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke has such a cool fucking delivery. And I'm not going to remember the line word for word, but it's about like you can never rise to the heavens unless you fall into the depths of hell or something like that. Mm-hmm. But he jokingly delivers it in this deep cadence, and even joking, I'm like, oh, just talk at my funeral. Just like give me a eulogy. Give me my eulogy. I'm sorry, it's really weird and inappropriate. But
he was really great in The Northman too.
Oh, I want to see that movie. They have that conversation, and then he escapes and starts to leave. And Mark Spector finds Stephen Grant, another persona of his, as two separate people, and they're talking. They hug each other, which is funny because they've done nothing but hate each other the entire series. But in this place, it's like seeing somebody you know in like a completely new school. Even if you don't really like that person, you gravitate towards them because they're like an anchor. They hug each other. They're trying to get out together, and they run into a talking hippo. And you're like, what the fuck is happening?
With like a very tiny, cute voice. Like, excuse me.
I feel like they've talked to her avatar, and I just can't pinpoint like who it was. Yeah. But we don't know if this is really happening, if this is in his head. And they've played with that a lot in Moon Knight comics because he does have dissociative identity disorder. So sometimes they leave it ambiguous as to did any of those adventures happen, or is he in an insane asylum, a mental health facility? And I loved it. I thought that it gives this show its own unique voice amongst the Marvel properties, and that's why I hope that it stays weird. Yeah, sure, I want some resolution, but I want them to opposite WandaVision me on this one, and I wanted to end with just being informed that all this weird shit can happen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that's all I want out of the next two episodes.
Yeah. That is kind of crazy to think that like there's only two left.
Yeah.
When I feel like we haven't covered a whole lot of ground, but I don't know. Hopefully that means they'll be jam-packed with content for our hungry mouths. But yeah, I hope that the last two have the pacing that this one had. I said, like even the pacing in the first two wasn't great, but it's like it's the opening two episodes, so it's okay. So when we hit 3 and it was still kind of that same thing, or scenes that went on too long, it's like, holy shit, man! Like when does the fucking show begin? I feel like it finally did, and with 4, like I said, I did like this episode. I just, hope there's enough time to end whatever the ending is going to be.
Right.
I don't know. I'm assuming that they're doing a Loki thing where like the story is not going to be complete. It's just going to lead into a second season.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, it was good.
Word. Okay. Next up, Spine of Night. Very weird entry here. We've heard it's like a urban legend. We had heard about this movie for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching the trailer a long time ago for it, and it's like this NC-17 high fantasy animated movie. And we didn't know what it was about, but it looked interesting enough. Like all the animations like rotoscoped, like it looks really interesting. It's got this very unique style. And it came out on the Shudder streaming service, which I still pay for. It's like $5 a month, and Samantha likes horror enough that because it's only $5, she hasn't allowed me to cancel it. So I watched it, and it was interesting. I liked it. I feel like I expected something different from it, and therefore it left me with a vague sense of like, what if, almost. Like the way that the movie is structured is not at all what I expected. It's almost like a big chunk of it is like stories being told. And that's what threw me off. I expected more of this grand epic adventure where we're following like one or two people as they, something generic. And it wasn't that at all. And I still liked it. Animation was crazy. There's a lot of crazy gore. They throw titties in your face the second the movie starts.
And dick.
There's a lot of titties, a lot of dongs, a lot of hairy boosh eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really anxious to know what you thought about it. Really, more than anything, more than even valuing my own final opinion on it, because it's kind of doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
So I'm finding more and more that it's taken me 33 years of life to realize that I think like my favorite subgenre is like dark fantasy and horror fantasy and gothic fantasy. It's just such a cool sort of like specific subgenre rather to explore. So things like Dark Souls and Berserk and even the setting of Spine of the Night were, excellent. I mean, it's just cool to me. I don't know. It's just exciting. It just strikes some kind of chord with me that I can't really explain. It's so like the setting of this movie was excellent. The execution of it, I actually really couldn't get into. I didn't like how it was a bunch of stories that kind of seemed disjointed. It felt like they were trying to find a reason to connect those stories.
Yeah.
It's like they had 6 ideas for a movie. Instead of doing like an anthological thing, they just made like a movie and were like, oh, here's the common thread between them. And it was kind of like, all right, I guess that sort of works. Nothing about this movie. Like there were scenes of this movie that were very good. There was imagery that was very good. The like background, setting, lore, names, like the fact that there's this magical leaf called the bloom, which is like this like otherworldly magical plant that only certain people know how to use. Like so much of it was so like the idea of it was fucking awesome, but how they use those ideas was not that cool to me. I felt no connection to any character, none of them, except maybe the Guardian was kind of cool. The voice acting in this movie was like it varied in an extreme way that I can't even begin to describe. Speaking of the Guardian, even the woman whose name I forget, she was the big old titty shaman woman who initially had the bloom, in the swamp tribe in the beginning. Both of those excellent voice actors, like A1 top of the line voice acting. And then there were some that was just like, did you like find someone on the side of the road to voice this character? There was like a sort of like a religious character who becomes like a necromancer. Like that scene was cool. There were cool scenes, but a movie is supposed to be a single cohesive thing. You know what I mean? Like it can't be this disjointed a bunch of stories that just kind of fit together. Overall, I was like there was no part of this movie where I was like, I can't wait to see what happens next. I was like visually enthralled by it. I was like I said, the setting was interesting to me. But there was nothing about the story that was like, or any of the characters that I was like, I can't wait to see where they end up or how they deal with this situation, or like, there was just no traditional storytelling there. And I don't know. It didn't do everything wrong, but it did enough wrong for me to say, like, am I ever going to watch this movie again? No, absolutely not. There's no way.
Yeah.
But I do have to congratulate the sort of thought that it feels like most of its work got done sort of on the like planning phase of it. Like, oh, where do we want the setting to be? What do we want the like magical force behind it? Like all those things like were excellent, like in deciding where and when and why and who, but like what all of those things did within that setting was just so boring and uninteresting.
Right. Lucy Lawless was the voice of our medicine woman, our guardian.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Lucy. Yeah. I think my favorite. No, you kind of. We're on the same page. It was a breathtaking movie to look at. And I like the ideas behind it, but like I said, like the clump of stories, like it all just felt like one big flashback. Like I didn't like it. I wanted it to be the sprawling adventure in this world, and it ended up not really being that at all. The biggest like ugly duckling, the biggest one that stands out is when they shifted to like the steampunk civilization. Yeah. That flies around like birds. And while I think that's still a cool like civilization to have in this world, they show up like 3/4 of the way through the fucking movie, and you're like, who? Yeah. What? How is this tying into the rest of this shit? And it does, but it's like needle thread thin the way it ties in. A lot of titties though. A lot of titties. It opens within 3 seconds. There's big old fat like triple I titties. Big old medicine titties. She's carrying around that blue milk in there. That's where Luke gets it from. So my favorite segment is when the cleric. That's my favorite of your random songs that you've ever done in the entire time I've known you. Big old medicine titties. That was a great one. Holy shit. That is one for the books. Thank you. I'll get the clip for you later. I could make the title of the episode Big Old Medicine Titties, but I think it's Nintendo 64 still. Really fucked you up there. Shit, I'm sorry. No, it's making your laugh is making me laugh. It's good. My favorite segment of the whole movie is when the cleric guy who's like mad with power, like we got him, boys. We fucking got him. My favorite segment is when the cleric, excuse me, who's mad with power, basically says like, I need more blood. And they influence this whole fight in like the town square, and they're killing each other and chopping heads off and stabbing through the back. It's really like gross to the point where like the animation, like you can see like fat under the skin. It's disgusting. Right. And then he gets that and consumes it in like a blood baby. And then like an eyeball comes out of his stomach. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. High fantasy. Like this is fantastic. And then he turns my boy into Palpatine, old Palpy, and that man goes power hungry. Although he's got like his little finger things, and he's like slicing. It's so sick. Like exactly, it's like this. The storyline didn't match the fucking design work in the world and everything else. For once, the design in the world completely outshone any story. Anyway, that's Spine and Night. You should if you subscribe to Shudder, or if you got a buddy with a Plex server or anything like that. It's worth watching once for sure, because it's that's actually a great way to put it. It's worth watching once because the setting is so interesting that you should at least be, introduce yourself to that, but just don't expect a story that's like, wow, I'm so glad it ended in the way that it did. Like you won't care about anything that happens, but you will be, it is a spectacle to behold. Yeah. I actually do need you to clip just you singing Big Old Medicine Titties and send it to me. I will try my best. Very important to me. It's probably around the 135 mark. I'll try to remember that. Big Old Medicine Titties. All right. It just reminded me I just thought of like a Folgers commercial, but just for Big Old Medicine Titties. I don't know. That's where my brain went. Blue milk in your cup. Outer Range. Episode ones and twos. Yeah, that makes sense. Starring Josh Brolin, the bully Brolin. The Brolster, as he's called by his closest confidants and friends, which clearly is us.
Yeah.
Stars in this Western meets science fiction thing. And we just recently talked about this because I didn't know it existed until I saw a trailer for it a couple weeks ago. And I thought, I'll give that a try because it looks like it could be interesting. I know nothing about Derek's thoughts about this. I made it a point to not ask him. Mm-hmm. However, we always do a 2-episode rule. They released 3 and 4. I have watched those as well, which should probably give you an idea. At least I at least thought the show was serviceable because I like it. I like the show. There's a lot of, for me, it checks a lot of sci-fi show boxes. There's weird mysteries that seem completely crazy that I'm sure will be explained at some point as like, oh, now that I know this, all that makes sense type of thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm always into those. And I know that they're a cheap storytelling hook, but they always fucking get me. And science fiction does them all the time.
Yeah.
I really love Josh Brolin as an actor. They're setting up unique backstories. In the first episode alone, spoiler alert, there is a murder on the ranch. Well, it wasn't on the ranch. They drove him. You get the idea.
Yeah.
But I want to hear, I really want to hear what you thought about it. I like the show. I'm going to keep watching it. I think it does some stuff wrong, but like it's not a perfect show by any means, but I'm interested enough. And there are some really good actors in this show that you don't see a whole lot. They're not the ones that are always in shows. Mm-hmm. The guy, I forget his fucking name. The guy that owns
I know who you're talking
about. Competing ranch.
Yeah. He's always
I love
great.
that guy.
Yeah.
And he's great in this. There's something weird going on with the fucking buffalo. He keeps saying he's dying. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's a lot of weird, interesting stuff happening, and I'm about it. What did you think about Outer Range?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. It has, first of all, excellent cinematography. It's like very beautiful. Like it's just, I don't know. It's just that Wyoming scenery that just does it for me.
It is beautifully shot.
But what's interesting is the juxtaposition between the juxtaposition between like the fact that we're dealing with a sci-fi show, which essentially for anyone listening, the big hook of the show, which is given away in the trailer, is that he finds this perfect circular hole into just nothing on his ranch. Josh Brolin, that is. And he's basically like in the trailer, he throws a body in there that he's trying to hide. Like there's just all kinds of shit going on. And so to take like sci-fi and to put it in like the Midwest where like there's not even cell service and people are generally considered to be less than educated hicks, is just kind of a cool setting for it because you've seen sci-fi shit in cities and even, suburbs and whatnot. So it's nice to see it in the middle of fucking nowhere. There's actually a part where I thought it was a great way to establish multiple things when they're talking about the fellow who runs the competing ranch, where it sets up A, how far away they are from civilization, and B, the kind of person that the sort of antagonist of the show is. And Josh Brolin's character is basically talking about how one of his ranch hands got impaled by a bull through like his gut. And that basically the right thing to do, because the ambulance was going to take an hour to get out there, once again showing how far away they are from civilization, was to just shoot this bull and at least let the guy die in peace. But since the bull is precious property of his, he just let the bull flail this guy's body around until he died in agony. I just thought that was a cool scene. I just like scenes or lines or conversations that establish multiple things in one go. Right. And this show does that pretty well. There's a lot of weird shit going on. I usually hate plot amnesia, but I don't mind it in the case of this one where like Josh Brolin's character wandered onto the ranch that he lives on now when he was like 9 years old, and that family just took him in. He's married to like whoever the daughter was at that time. And it seems to be playing into the story directly. You have Imogen Poots, it's the silliest name ever, but she's a wonderful actor.
She is.
Who plays like a hippie chick who also has
Mystery
memories missing from when she was a kid that she is now starting to remember now that she's on Josh Brolin's ranch. There's just like, it kind of reminds me of Lost, except it's not like, and that's the thing that excites me and worries me, because what Lost did so well is you really cared about the characters, but they had all this crazy shit going on in the background. It's like before you can even answer one question, they would ask 10 more. And so, like, you're devoting years of your life watching the show, and you're like, okay, in the end, they're going to answer these questions, right? And even down to, like, the last episode is on, like, tomorrow night, and there's, like, 40 unanswered mysteries. You're like, all right, they're going to answer all these tonight, right? No, they did not. They just didn't.
They just this is purgatory. Spoiler.
Yeah, it was just a weak ending, but with great character development. So, like, it's encouraging to see that this does seem to be a character-driven show. I'm worried that they're going to introduce too many things to answer in a way that doesn't suck. But the only way that I can find that out is to continue watching it, which, based on these 2 episodes, I'm going to, because it's been very good so far.
Twist. Yeah, I can say this without spoiling it. So they give more color to the reason that he showed up at the farm as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And they do it pretty. I'm actually surprised. It in my brain, I'm like, did it happen on 2 or 3? So it must happen in 3.
Yeah.
That does not. It's not plot amnesia.
Mm-hmm.
At least as far as I can tell so far, if he was telling the truth. But anyway, I thought it was a great thing. It was the kind of thing where I kind of like you said, my brain went, okay, well, whatever. I can store that away and ignore it if I have to, if they didn't feel like fleshing out his background. But can we just stop and appreciate this man's fucking name? Royal Abbott is such a fucking
Abbott. It's very strong.
Badass goddamn name. There's a little bit. So what it does for me, and this is obviously going to hit people differently. It's going to hit people in Wyoming differently because that may seem, some of the shit in that show may seem really inauthentic to them. But me, I've grown up in what I would consider the middle of nowhere, but not really. You can drive across all of my state in like an hour and some change. It's not a big state. I'm super close to major cities. I don't know what it's like to live out there like those guys do. And I don't know anything about a cattle ranch besides there's cattle and people that raise them. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting interesting stuff from both sides. And like you said, they've been doing a good job with characters, but also just the setting is interesting to me in general, because that world is a bit alien to me. Mm-hmm. Like where those people live, how their days go. I kind of like chuckled when I realized that one of his sons was trying to be like a professional bull rider. And I'm like, haha, of course he is. And I'm like, well, that's not inauthentic. They live in Wyoming. Like, to them, it's like their son growing up to be a fucking basketball player. He's like, what's he going to do? Stay on the ranch or go do, and, I've been really enthralled with there's everyone's got some kind of dark dirt in their past that they're slowly uncovering. And I just love that kind of character stuff. And I hope it gives me answers.
And the one dude I forgot to mention, I'm sorry to interrupt. He was the only good part about the Iron Fist TV show. He was the guy, I can't remember his name. He was
I know who you're talking about. He's the guy who plays Percy in this one.
Yeah.
I think his name's Percy.
So he was like he had like a drug addiction or something. He was like the big boss's son. Dude, he was an awesome character in that show. Awesome actor. And I immediately, upon seeing him, even though he looks so different in this, because he's not all done up like a city guy. Now he's like rough and gruff like a country guy. I was just like, fuck yes. I have always wanted to see more of this guy. And dude, he's doing like excellently in this show so far, just in the first 2 episodes.
I am half jealous because I thought that like almost verbatim what you just said. As soon as I saw him, I went, oh shit, he was the only good thing in Iron Fist. Yeah. And I'm so happy.
Ward was his character's name.
Ward. Yeah. Ward. That sounds right. And I went, oh shit, like he's a good actor that I feel like, again, another one of those, they pulled in great actors and actresses, just actors that like not have flown under the radar, but like aren't super crazy celebrity status. They're just good, hardworking, like fucking good actors. And I saw him and I thought the same exact thing. And the other half of me is super happy that you remembered to say it, because he's fucking awesome. And he's doing a great job.
Yeah. And so far they're really very, honestly showing a family that has experienced trauma and like has issues with one another, but they still have this, well, we stick together. Like, I love that basically Percy in the first episode accidentally kills a guy. And it's just, there's not even a question. Everybody's just like, all right, well, we're on board. We're like, we're covering this up with you. Like we're a family. We're sticking together. You're not going to jail. And I don't know. That's I just appreciate how they're a broken family, but they're still together at the same time. Also, the struggle of faith that's happening in Josh Brolin. The rest of his family is very religious. And in episode 2, he has that awesome prayer where he starts off like nice and calm, like, if you could just give us a little help here. And then he's just enraged by the end. I'm just asking for a fucking, like, he's just screaming by the end. It was really, I forgot about that too. And that's phenomenal. Refresh my memory. What happens at the end of episode 2? The end of episode 2, he it's shown that he does not forget what happened when he was thrown into the hole.
Okay, cool.
I have no idea what any of that shit was. All of his friends and family were there.
It looked like a wormhole scenario, right? Like it kind of feels like that, maybe.
Yeah.
And I have no further evidence of that, so I'm not spoiling anything. That's really, as far as like what's on the other side, the only thing they've shown us so far. And I was just like, okay, so, but again, Lost style, there's still so many questions.
Yeah.
Are both ends of these a fixed point in time?
Yeah.
Is he always going to go? What did she say? She said you've been dead for 2 years.
Yeah.
And was not crying about it, which it's her husband. So there's so much weird shit going on. And when he went through, I was like, okay, wormhole, right? Easy answer. But there's a lot of stuff that doesn't line up with that 100%. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm into it. Yeah. I'm caught up. They released the first 2 episodes. And then I don't know if this is a plan for the rest of the show, but they released another 2 the following Friday. So there's 4 out right now. I just rewatched the end of the last one, which is another walloper of a scene from competitive ranch owner guy. And it's chef's kiss. I can't wait till you get there. Where I'm at, of course, no spoilers. There are some plot threads I am incredibly invested in. Some that I'm kind of like, blase, like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't hate them, but I don't really necessarily give too much of a crap about them. But a big recommend. I if you're into sci-fi at all, I think it's absolutely worth, putting your peepers on it for a little bit, especially if you're subscribed to Amazon Prime. Then guess what? It's free. So, well, not free, but you know what I'm saying. You're already paying for it. Or if you have a friend that owns a Plex server.
Can I give a sub 3-minute spoiler free review of The Northman?
I would like you to tell me how The Northman, and then we're going to wrap this bitch up. Yeah. So you saw a thing.
I saw a thing. I did a thing. So Veronica and I went and saw The Northman. I'm not going to spoil it because it literally just came out a few days ago, and I'd like you to see it, and I'd like people who listen to this to see it. So I am going to try to navigate this as well as I can without giving any spoilers, but still making points about the movie. I feel like there are 2 types of people who are going to be hearing this. There are people who are Eggers fans, and there are people who are not Eggers fans. And I think what this movie does very well is that it appeals to both of them. So like we see in the Vitch and in the Lighthouse, there's this deep dive into sort of like the religion of the time, or the culture of the time, or like superstitions of the time. And those 2 films were like very ambiguous in that the viewer was left to sort of decide what happened. So there's these scenes where like, whatever, in the Lighthouse. Yes, Christopher.
Don't be scared. I'm deleting the old files from last week.
Okay, continue. Thank you. Thanks for the warning. So like there's a scene where Robert Pattinson's jerking off in the lighthouse and he sees a mermaid, and we're left to wonder. Forget it. Yeah, how could you possibly? And but really, we're left to wonder, like, okay, was that did that really happen? Like, was there an actual mermaid that he saw? Is he so deluded and sleep deprived and hungry that he saw that? Is it like the stories that he's been hearing from Willem Dafoe's characters scaring him into like seeing something? It's never answered, and that's the point. You're sort of, it's up to the viewer. The ending is ambiguous. That's a 3-year-old movie, so I don't mind spoiling that one. He looks into the lighthouse, and we never see what's in there. We just know it scares him, and it's up to you to decide. That was what you said primarily you didn't like about the lighthouse.
Yeah.
So without giving the ending away, of course,
wanted a goddamn answer
of The Northman, it does not have one of these endings. It's a very straightforward. The overarching narrative of the film is straight. Is a very classic story.
Revenge.
It has those things that Eggers fans like though. There's a part, again, I don't want to give it away, but there's a part where, he, to get this item, he goes through this sort of trial that's very fantastical and very like something out of a fantasy book. But then it's very heavily implied immediately afterwards that like maybe that didn't happen. And maybe that character just saw it in that way through the lens of sort of Viking mythology. Like maybe that's just what he saw he was doing and it wasn't anywhere near as, but again, it's left up to you. But the major beats of the story, the things that happened, they're not up for interpretation. They happened. Like the other thing is it's very central to one character. So it's not like a story that we're getting all the sides of. It's all about Alexander Skarsgård's character. His name is Amleth. It's all from his perspective. So you just get like what happened to him, how he reacts to it. The cinematography, I think it's the most beautiful movie I've ever seen in my life. I think that it has the best like final showdown of any movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Yes, please, Christopher.
I've heard it compared to episode 3 Star Wars on crack with maybe some dicks. I
will not comment on that, and I will just wait for you to watch it. And I've
heard it was great though.
It was excellent. It was really good. The greatest part about it is this. They had so much talent in this. Nicole Kidman, Willem Dafoe, Bjork, which of course Kate. I went and took a piss and I missed the Bjork scene and everybody said it was really great. Bjork, you have Ethan Hawke, you have it keeps going and going and going. The best part about it though is all those really big names are just in it for like a couple minutes. Like Willem Dafoe's screen time is maybe 3 minutes tops. Bjork 2-3 minutes. Ethan Hawke is really just in the first 15 minutes or so. I mean, we know from the trailer that he dies, so no shock there. And so the reason that I think that's a good thing is it gives Alexander Skarsgård room to just be the focus. And holy shit, dude, I always liked him, but he was incredible in this. His acting. He seriously pulled it out for this. Him and Anya Taylor-Joy, she was also, she co-starred with him. They were both just excellent. I think that this is both of their best works ever. Wow. Oh, it still scared me. It still scared the shit out of me. I just got the notification. But anyway, I can't recommend it enough. I actually feel very, very strongly that you would love this movie. I feel pretty strongly that Scott, who I think hated The Vitch and The Lighthouse, would like this movie. I think that this is like Robert Eggers being like, okay, I'm going to keep the shit in that my fans like because I don't want to alienate my fans, but I'm going to filter it through a more streamlined and maybe even mainstream storytelling, like narrative function. It feels like all the stuff that makes his movies great are still in there, but you have like a very grounded storyline going through the middle of it that just, I don't know, just brings it together. Dude, it was excellent. I can't stress it enough. It was great. Like, I love his other two movies, and this is his best one by far, and it's not even close.
Yeah, so I was I liked the Witch, the Vivitch, if you will, as it's been memed into existence. I didn't. The Lighthouse is shot extremely well. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I don't think it was a bad film. Those are not the kinds of movies that I enjoy.
Yeah.
I like people to spell things out for me at least a little bit, especially when most of the movie is up for interpretation.
Yeah.
And then also the ending. But there was some Mermosi.
There was Mermosi. Don't forget the Mermosi.
That's my ape brain taking back control of my review of The Lighthouse. The Northman looks fantastic, and I am looking forward to watching it whenever it ends up coming out on some streaming platform. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely not going to be going to a theater to see it. My next theater going experience will be our mandate to see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That's actually a good exit point from the conversation of the Northman and a way to segue to our ending. We have a mandate scheduled for next weekend. No, not next weekend.
Yeah, I think
the weekend. Yeah, the following weekend. Anyway, the moral of the story here is we're going to be seeing that movie opening weekend and talking about it mere days after it releases. So I know we have a spoiler warning in the beginning. This is your 2-episode fair warning heads up that will be happening. We did the same thing with No Way Home. We're doing it here. If the movie's out and we've seen it, we're talking about it. It's how we've always done things. So that's 2 weeks from now. For now, we're gonna call it. We've been chit-chatting around the old campfire for a while, and I want to grab a drink, some water maybe, and fucking maybe build some Legos.
Oh, there we go. Build them up. Build me up.
Build them up. Build them up. Where can everybody find you at?
So you can find me on Twitch. Yes, Twitch and Twitter. I have been streaming again, and that's at Dr. Gloom MD. That's DRGLOOMMD. Lately, I've been streaming Faith Build and Dark Souls Remastered because I want to replay Elden Ring immediately, but I have to give myself time to just sort of ruminate on it, so I'm just playing Dark Souls 1. And holy shit, it really is still a great game. Yeah, come check it out. I haven't figured out my exact schedule yet. Probably like Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays or something like that, but I don't know.
Yeah. I actually, so you mentioned earlier, and I will keep this extremely brief because we're saying our goodbyes. You mentioned how the further away you get from Elden Ring, the more like appreciation you have for it. And I would agree. It's only been like a week and some change for me, but the further away I get, I've had to separate From Software games into 2 categories, and that's because nothing stands next to Sekiro. And I'm sorry, it doesn't. Sekiro, you cannot reproduce that game because they've made nothing else like it.
Yeah. And
every other From Software game they've had to tune against a wide variety of play styles with a wide variety of weapons. They didn't have to do that, so the gameplay is so tight. And it's hard, and there's no caveats, there's no summons, there's no, and not that you have to be a true, Souls player to you have to do that to be a true Souls player or anything, but there's something so pure about that game. You either fucking practice and get good at those fights, or you don't go any further.
Dude,
and
that's what Veronica asked. We were talking about it yesterday, and she was like, she's like, how does summoning work in Sekiro? And I was like, there's no summoning. And that's the beauty of it. Like, if you beat something, it's all you, baby. You did it. You owe that to yourself. I agree. That's one of the best things about it. There's no cheese. There's no skimping, no shortcuts, no ashes, nothing. It's all you.
And because of that, the commons that Sekiro summons is so much stronger.
Immense.
And I didn't mean to use Elden Ring to bring up Sekiro, but I'm just saying I can't compare it to that. In my mind, Sekiro is still the best game that they've made, and I look forward to them changing my mind in the future. Yeah. However, if you're looking specifically for a Souls game, I think Elden Ring is the best that you get, because
to think back on what you did, it's just like absurd the amount that they pack into that game. And I don't mean just bullshit dungeons, just like the story beats. It's unbelievable how much is in
There's
it.
a massive amount of content in that game. And yes, because it's an open world and because there are a million little mini dungeons, boss fights will be repeated, but those are not the meaningful fights we're talking about. They had a great variety of boss mechanics in this game.
Yeah.
The only bosses that felt similar to me were the ones that were supposed to feel similar to me, like Margit and Morgott, because they are like basically related. If I remember
they're the same person,
right? Oh, right. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, these giant legacy dungeons, which feel like an entire zone of like a Dark Souls game, stand in the middle of this wilderness with so much shit to find, even using guides to run around. And, again, I'm dragging this out. But so in my mind, there's 2 games now. You want the best of the Souls game, then you play Elden Ring. And if you want what, in my opinion, is just their best game to date and one of the tightest gameplay experiences that you can get from this super challenging, must memorize the boss's moveset style of game, is Sekiro. And
I will say again that when I beat Ishin Sword Saint, I will never forget I just involuntarily started crying. I don't mean weeping, like, I'm so happy I finally did it. I just randomly, tears started coming out, and nothing in Elden Ring had that effect. So I will have to, I feel like you just got some news that you have to tell me.
I did. We Own the Night comes out tonight, so we get to watch that for next week.
Oh, shit. Oh, okay. Tight.
That we get to see more of our buddy, Bernthal.
Bernthal.
John Bernthal.
Your buddy Bernthal.
John
JBB.
Burn Bussy. I was trying to burn Thussy. Yeah.
I think that's it.
All right. Let's wrap this motherfucker up. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at TCN Plays. I am also streaming again because of the UCS Millennium Falcon 7,541 pieces. I am not exaggerating when I say I was mentally overwhelmed when I opened up the first box. It's a lot of fucking pieces of Lego, and I can't wait to build more of it. I actually, like, my schedule right now, I'll probably be live the rest of the week at like 9 p.m. because I'm either playing a video game or I'm going to be building Legos, and I can't ignore that while it's there. It's like Elden Ring. Now that I've started it, I must finish it.
Right.
And honestly, the experience was great. I like I said earlier in the stream, I turned on the TV. I have the chat there. If someone's there, great. If not, I got relaxing tunes playing in my ear, and I'm building a fucking Lego. It's great. It's great for me. I love that for me. And with that being said, we'll wrap up episode 64, henceforth known as Nintendo 64.
Yes.
And we'll see you guys next week to watch X. Gonna give it to you. Moonfall, and We Own the City. I couldn't help myself. I really apologize. I'll see you next time, friendo.
See you then, pal.
All right, Chief.
All right, buddy.
All right, guy.
All right, compadre.